Now, we are about to go into the keynote speakers and the presentations. And so at this time, it is my honor to bring you today's speaker for our keynote presentation, who was born into a culturally rich family, which is why it comes as no surprise his evolution into the arts and culture of TNT. First of all, he's a singer. He's a songwriter, star maker, music producer, and has been spreading TNT culture for more than 30 years. Just look at Marshall. He began his radio career in 1981 and designed and produced the first urban format for Radio NBS 98.9. His radio network in TNT has become the leading network, and his work on the urban format influenced radio throughout the Caribbean. He has pushed the boundaries, as Mr. Maurice was saying. You have to see the vision. He has pushed the boundaries and elevated the audience experience through his top management style, better stage and sound production. As a trained chef, food has always been part of his passion, which is as he now celebrates the trendy food spot, 139 Woodbrook Yard. And here I will also boast that I had the honor and pleasure of working under this man as well. It was for about 3 or 4 months, but I still learned a thing or two. But we know him as Chinese Laundry, and many people will know him as the Grandy Boy from Ojo Road. And this morning, he's about to share his story, aptly entitled, Unlocking the Innovative Mindset. Please help me welcome Chinese Laundry, also known as Anthony CHOW LIN, Managing Director of TTRN.
Good morning, everyone. To the list of salutations, may I also ask that all protocols be observed. When I was asked to deliver the keynote address, you know what I could have done? I could have gone to ChatGPT, artificial intelligence, and say, write me a keynote address. I'll get it in 30 seconds, and I come and I read it out. Job done. But maybe that's a good start to this discussion this morning. Because as much as we embrace and we understand technology and where it's going, there's a very important point that I want to make. If we know how artificial, and we have to talk about, maybe it's a good start because that's all the noise right now, artificial intelligence. If we know how that works, it's just computing of stuff that was done already. Whatever people may have said and published, it's on the internet for the 6 billion people to access it. And when you think about that, that's no way to win. That's no way to win. Because you'll just be doing something that somebody did before. So to start, I would say, you know what? Forget AI for a moment. And let's create. Understand that within your creativity lies your superpower. Innovation is what you have that is priceless. The other thing about being asked to speak, I had to search within myself and say, what about my journey could be useful to this audience? What have I done? What's my secret? And one of the things that I thought about, every time I try to fill out an immigration form at the airport coming home, and there's that section that said, what do you do? Am I a businessman? Am I a restaurateur? Am I a producer? Within recent years, I'll tell you what I put. I'm a DJ artist. I'm a DJ artist. Because I go back to my early years. When I started, I learned some things being a DJ that I kept throughout my journey. what's a DJ really? You stand up by Reiner's record shop, O'Brien's record shop, and you listen to all the music that comes out. You have to make good choices. You have to be strong in your opinions, which song should be good. And you go to the fete. If you get it wrong, you empty the dance floor, no more work. So right there and then, developed a sharpness of instinct, how to choose. And I had to wrap myself around my audience all the time. Where are they going? What do they want to hear? How do they dress? What about it? So I'm forever a DJ. I'm always looking for that hit song. I'm always looking for that thing and synchronizing with my audience. If I think of this like a deck of cards, business, entrepreneurship, I go back to DJing. Your audience is the ace. Your idea and your innovation is probably king. Your marketing department is probably the queen. Your accounting department is probably the 10 or the jack. And coming back to this whole aspect of DJing, it really developed my mind, my curious mind. I want to know everything that's going on. I spend the first few hours of my mornings, 4 o'clock in the morning, trying to find out where this world is at. Fully aware that it's changed from yesterday. There's a thing in radio where they say nothing is ever finally right in radio. Tomorrow, you're going to meet a different world. The audience will have moved on, expecting something new. So you have to stay curious. You have to keep understanding the temperature of everything. As a DJ, I continue to look at business like music. How do we shape it? What kind of songs they want to hear? What kind of melodies? Now, when I say I'm a DJ artist, I cannot neglect that business is a whole lot of different things. A whole lot of different things. Accounting, if you're in the food business, you have to figure out whether your food cost is 20 or 30% of your sales. Things like that. I remember having to make serious decisions. For example, Marshall coming to me and saying, hey, I want to use Michael Jackson's technology. I want to fly out the stadium. And then I go to, how much will that cost? It's business. But then it comes back to the creative idea, which will be my banner statement for the day. The idea and the innovation is the king. And where will that take my business and my brand in the future? We will have to do it smart, okay? Could we afford to fly him out the stadium on a jetpack? And you make those decisions. Now, I want to share a short story that I feel, and I will explain at the end why I think it's an important story. My first record production was David Rudder's 12-inch of Bacchanal Lady. This was the year 1987. To put things into perspective, I was a DJ at the Atlantis nightclub, and a lot of club music. David had just won the year before everything. He was the guy, 1986. And within the nightclub now, I saw music coming out in club formats, remixes, and I was thinking, wow, this is innovative. But within calypso music and soca, it hadn't been done. So I went to his then producer, Joe Brown. I said, hey, I have an idea. I want to do this. Let's do a remix of Bacchanal Lady. Now, I was grateful that he said yes. And to put things into perspective, Joe Brown his network is Ralph McDonald, Bill Withers, great producers. David is the man. I say, you know what, come down in the evening, 7 o'clock, we'll work on it. So I get to the studio and I sit. And I realize, hey, what did I get myself into here? Clive Bradley just pushed the door. He's a musical genius. He just won Panorama with Desperados. Winston Bailey Shadow is in the next room. And I find myself in the middle of this with my big mouth, understanding that I'm musically illiterate. What am I doing here? And Joe sat with me patiently and said, all right, what do you have in mind? Well, I relied on my DJ experience. I said, listen, extend the front. He said, how much bars? I said, what you said? He said, extend the bars? How much? 8, 16? And then I realized, hey, I just learned something. Anyway, we got it done. But I find this a very important story for me because, one, it is a story of somebody being brave enough to challenge what was being done before and to express what I saw as innovation in the music business. But it's also the story of the experienced musicians and producers giving me a chance, an opportunity. And that is what I take now when I see the younger producers come with their ideas. In terms of, I got somebody to give me a chance. Now, this story is also important because 35 years later, I pursued my dreams and now become one of the major producers of local music in Trinidad and Tobago. So that story is important to me. I want to tell another story. The story of watercolors, which, for those who don't know, it's an event, it's a fete. But it was way back in the 80s as well, we were doing a party up at Valley View. Pool party, we call it watercolors. And anyway, after a successful run of a few years, Mr. Samaru, who owned Valley View Hotel, said, hey, we can't do this anymore up here. You have to find another venue. Watercolors was about a little slide he had there, a small pool, and it was the ambience of the event. After that heartbreaking news, I am coming around Maracas Road one day, and I saw this water truck on the side of the road spraying down the gravel. And I just said, you know what? Stop, I need to talk to this guy. I have an idea. I found out his name was Mr. Ram. He's from Rio Claro. He's a Wassa contractor. And he had these several trucks. And I said, you know what? This event wouldn't stop. I think I have something here. I think I have an idea. As it turned out, the following year after we left Valley View, I got Mr. Ram to come with the water trucks to create water ambience in a vet. I said, you know what? This must be theater. Let me put it on a ramp. Let me make a show of it. And I'm bringing up this story again to go back to my banner message. The idea and the innovation is the king. Because looking back, I did well with my idea, but it also transformed promotions in that particular genre to now having soca, stink and dirty, not only in Trinidad, but for entrepreneurs all through the Caribbean. Not so, Derek? That do these water events. It was the start of a new genre. I didn't know it at the time. But then when I look back, I realized the idea is the boss. The innovation is the boss. Mark Zuckerberg had a team in Harvard. But the idea was to get people to communicate on Facebook. Of course, he had coders, he had investors, but the idea is the king, and the audience is the ace of this pack. And that is really my message as well. When I was in COVID, like all of us, I had a lot of time to think. I got to thinking about the restaurant business. As a DJ, what kind of world are we going to return to? What kind of songs they want to hear? What is going on with the restaurant business? Is it that because of the economy, fine dining may not be the same? Is food by the pound going to be too expensive? Where do people want to go? At the same time, a lot of people were coming up through the internet and selling food on the Instagram, and a whole new breed of entrepreneurs were rising. Again, with ideas being the king, and innovation being the king, and the audience being the ace. And I'm saying, what could I do? What kind of music they want to hear when we come back out into the world? And for me, the thoughts that I had is what you see at Woodbrook Yard today. And that basically is my message. And I could tell you several other stories, but I've been given a certain amount of time, and there is a certain Q&A, which I want to open the floor now to Q&A. Sure.
You mentioned about unlocking the innovative mindset. I'm thinking at school right now, at sixth form, we are being taught innovation. But now we are seeing innovation is a mindset. How can this mindset be integrated in our curriculum in that sixth form level for us to really be entrepreneurs? Am I clear?
I understand where you want to go with your question and so on. And I feel, too, that there are two things I think about. Your artistic mind, your creative mind, and we have to figure out a way to empower kids in a time where hope is a scarce commodity. We have to get the adrenaline pumping. We have to get them finding the joy of creating and the belief that there are opportunities out there. And some of us have to lead by example.
Hi, I'm Romario. So,
Hi.
as somebody that's like, so I'm like 25, right? And sometimes I get a little too scared when I think that my idea is a little too innovative, a little too out of the box, a little kind of might be a little bit confusing for some people to understand. But like, so I work in the beauty industry, and now I'm just trying to help people feel a lot more comfortable about themselves. And a lot of times it's a lot too expensive for just the regular person to just come to the salon and just feel really good about themselves. Because you know, you look good, you feel good. So I'm currently working working on cosmetics that actually help here in the Caribbean to help people feel better so they can use the tattoo. But sometimes I get kind of a little too scared that this might make any sense. Whereas at the same time, I still see that as like a real big need for it. So yeah, that's just my thing.
Yeah, and it's because, well, I want to say to you, congratulations on your pursuit. And it's for people like you, is why I told those two stories. Because looking back, I can't even believe that I took that leap and would approach Shadow and David to do work with them. It took a lot of bravery. But looking back, where it took me, to me, I'm hoping that these stories inspire you and others to take that leap fearlessly, because it's okay. You have time. If it doesn't work out, put on your big band pants and come again. One more?
Yeah, man. Good day, good day.
Good day.
Excellent speech, by the way. You said the idea is the king and the audience is the ace. That a little generalized. I don't know if you want to give me a little pointers on what to focus on when I have an innovative idea.
Yeah. Sure. I'll go into another area. Music. When you think about writing a song or producing a song, who do you think is the boss? The songwriter, the singer, the producer? The audience is the boss. The audience is the boss. You understand? And I mean, literally, you have to really understand, let that influence and impact your idea as well. So you're pushing forward, but you know, sometimes you want to always keep in mind that art is reflecting your society, is reflecting where you want to go and where you want to take it. So it's always that pouring of energies. And I feel, like one can't happen without the other. That you have to find that ground where your idea meets the audience. I hope and I wish you all the success. Is that it? Thank you very much, everyone.